So, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Ike MMA podcast or the Ike MMA show. I have the one-eyed is what do you call it? So, is it the one-eyed dragon or the
Yes.
one-eyed the one-eyed dragon, Dre Miley? And Dre, welcome. Well, shall I say welcome to the show? Welcome back to the show because we've had you on here before, but this time it's just me going solo. My co-host is kind of doing his own thing at the moment.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me, man.
No, no, it's great. I really want to get you on because, well, to talk about your upcoming fight with what's his name, Ahmet
Yeah.
at the Combat Sports, Rocket Combat Sports.
hmm
So, man, how are things going? How are things going camp wise? How are you preparing, diet, training, just your training schedule?
Everything's going pretty smoothly this time around. It's not so much stressful as it was last camp. I don't know why. I guess I had a lot of things going on, and this camp seems more relaxed. I had time to relax and think about it for a minute, and really dive into training and really learn what I'm doing. So diet's really well. The weight's just really falling off at this point. So I could probably wake up on weight, which is awesome. So it's testament of like staying ready the entire time.
So, your diet, as in, what sort of things have you? As in, is there like a certain, though common sense will suggest if there's a certain weight you want to hit, there's a certain calorific intake you got to stay within. As in, so your diet at the moment, as in, what does it consist of?
My diet it changes from week to week. Like this week right now, for breakfast I had egg whites with spinach and a pico, and then a little bit of dressing with olive oil. And then lunch I'll have like shrimp and spinach. So it's the base of it is just spinach, and then whatever meat I can have. Usually it's I've been having steak this whole camp, so which is awesome. I never really
Mm.
thought I would be losing weight off steak, but for a while there till last week, I was eating nothing but steak. I ate steak for breakfast, and then that was just crazy because my body was just killing. It was burning through it so fast, and then yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I think it's just if you follow your diet and you listen to your coaches, you're gonna succeed, and this is exactly what's happening right now.
No, no, good. They do say that, of course, there's the fitness side to think of things. So the fitness, you also got to take into consideration what you do in the gym. But they say it's 80% diet, then 20% gym or workout or whatever it is you do for exercise. And
hmm
how are things at camp? Are you sparring every day, doing those extreme intensive exercises?
I mean, it's not really don't really spar hard. Let's not. It's on Fridays like this for almost every Friday. We have been doing hard sparrings. So we'll Shark Tank it. Be me in the middle and someone new comes in every so often. So it's been hard, but like training really not really changed. Jujitsu wise, still rolling hard, still drilling hard. That never really changed even when the fight was materialized. I've always rolled hard, I always try to roll, with a good intention and good intensity. MMA classes has changed a lot. So we've been doing a lot of high output, high volume, lots of moving, lots of activity. So moving around, staying loose, not settling. So I mean, it's good, all good cardio, all good intensity. So I feel really, really good about this.
Okay, good. I mean, how do you just overall, how do you feel leading up to the fight? Because I could see that in your post on Instagram, you really, really wanted, as in you're one of those fighters, which I guess goes the same for a lot of the other athletes. You just don't want to be sitting around idle. You actually do want to stay active and stay competitive. So, I mean, I could see that when the first time I saw that promotional poster for the upcoming fight with Ahmet, I think in one of the posts you posted this more than once, but in one of the comments I saw that you were saying something like last and yes, you're feeling really thankful for the new fight.
Yeah. I mean, the outcome that I want for this fight is really not. I don't want to finish. I don't want to early finish. So I mean, we have 5 rounds to, I have 25 minutes to do what I want to do. I don't have to kill it in the first 25. And while I am thankful for this opportunity to, go in here and fight for this promotion, I have to think about the end result for it. I have to think about all the training that I put in and make sure I get the most out of it and let the cards fall where they may.
So you don't want to just go in there and, as in, I remember from around this time last year, in the UFC, is it Sanhagen versus Edgar, and I think it wasn't long before the Sandman, as I just because I can't remember his proper name, but the Sandman had landed that flying knee and just knocks Edgar out completely, and the fight was over before it felt like it was over before it had even started. You don't want anything like that. You want to go in there, show off. Let me say, show off your skills, your abilities, and yeah, put on a good fight for people. So no, I understand that because it makes it more entertaining for the fans, and they want to see you fight again for the next time. No, I get that.
Yeah.
Um, so I asked this to a fighter the other day. And I always say that the
Hold on. Hold on.
right,
Good.
go
Okay.
yeah, go back. So I asked this to a fighter the other day. What in your gym? I mean, if the particular athlete that I'm speaking to that I've just watched fights in the cage or just watched compete and they've come out the successor, and just overall if they've done so well, have done as well as they have done, um, I I'm under the impression that the camp that they're from, the fight team that they're from, the gym that they're part of, there must be other good promising athletes, good promising mixed martial arts fighters coming up there as well. So I mean, um, to some extent now I know you. I know that even with your even after the major accident you had all those years ago, you haven't let that stop you from doing something as physical as mixed martial arts. So I mean, at your gym, are there any other promising names that we should be looking out for?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot of us, and I'm pretty excited about it. We have Shanna. Shanna's fighting in the UFC, I think in March, either March or April. I'm not sure. Vince is fighting. Everybody knows them, but like you got people like Jason King, you got Emily King, you got Chris Adcock, you got James Adcock, who is like my number one training partner. You got Garrett Sharp, Anthony Cochran, Ray Hewlett, Dan Bailey. I mean, we have just a ridiculous amount of people who
Mm,
are just killers. Everybody is good at what they do. So there's a lot of us you're about to learn about a lot of us here soon. So it's exciting to be part of this team at this point because I feel like everybody is pushing towards the same goal. Everybody's pushing each other. We're not letting each other slack anymore. And it's a very warming feeling to be like, hell yeah, we're all going for this and no one's letting the other person slack. So it's amazing.
good. I, if I remember correctly, and I don't mean to sound repetitive. Excuse me. When I was interviewing you with Dave, sometime towards the tail end of last year, um, I did ask you in the next few years or so, which of the big names, big promoters would you see yourself signing or fighting for? And you said the UFC actually, to my surprise, would not be your first choice. And I think you said something similar about Bellator. Now, has that changed?
I mean, no, I still because I have a family of support, and at any point in time, UFC can get rid of you, and they can be like, "Well, we don't really want you." Like, say you fill out your contract, whatever deal it is, and if they don't like you, they won't keep you. I can't rely on that. Bellator will keep you coming in, and it's the way they treat you. I like the way that Bellator treats you. Now, if UFC, decides to be like, "Hey, we'll sign you and we'll give you all this and perks and everything," and they show me that they treat everybody different than Bellator, then yeah. But for as far as I know, it seems like Bellator just treats their people with hospitality because they're a fighter, not because they're just another body, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've heard of the organization that Scott Coker runs the whole thing, almost like when you're there, in comparison to when you're at a UFC event, when you're at a Bellator event, it does feel more almost like one big family or so.
Mhm.
But the UFC is almost like it's really, you're in a corporate organization. And I'm not sure if you must have seen this in the media at the time. John Jones, and then there was the other fighter. I think he's French. He has almost like a big, what makes him look like he's got a lion mane or so. I think he has a French name. I think he was I think he got in some sort of altercation or domestic abuse case. At
Oh
home or
yeah.
something. Yeah, the UFC, Dana White got rid of him. But lo and behold, John Jones, on that same night that he's being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame,
Mhm.
gets into some sort of similar bother, and Dana White still won't cut him from the UFC roster. I mean
That's
that is
because he's a
crazy.
moneymaker. Yeah. It's because John Jones is his moneymaker. If you're not making Dana money, you're not bringing people in the seats. They're not going to take care of you. You know, you're doing them a huge service. Anytime John Jones's name is mentioned, that's a huge service. Uh, Unfortunately for Louise, you know,
Yeah, so
he had to
that was the
deal with a
name.
lot of stuff. And the crazy thing is that I remember watching Louise and fighting on the same card as Louise Pena, you know, on the regional circuit. Like he used to fight for Valor, so it's it's it hurts to watch him fall from there. But at the same time, it's like you put yourself in an area where you have no one around you. You don't have a good family around you. You have a good support system. You're just another fighter to that gym, and they didn't want you, and they weren't going to help you through it. So you went on the path to self destruction. John Jones he's got money and he's got notoriety and he's got Dana White in his back pocket. So all he has to do is just drive home some marketing and he's good to go.
But I've got to be honest, when you do those sorts of things, it does, even though you may at the time, at the current time, you may feel as if you're getting away with it. But as time goes on, you find it does follow you for the rest of your life, because John Jones will not be a mixed martial arts. At least he will not be a UFC fighter forever. Neither will Conor McGregor. And at some point, they have to retire, or if they're not bringing in the money like they used to, the organization will have to get rid of them. Then they might, if they want to go somewhere else, or they'll test the free market. Um, with John Jones, I mean, once he's if at some point the UFC does drop him, I mean, do you see any sponsorship brands or labels, or even any sort of what's the term, philanthropic work coming his way? Because if you've done something like all the things he has done, I doubt you can do anything like, let's say, a charity event or a stop bullying event for young kids and young adults.
I really don't see him doing anything. Right now he's down there and fight ready, you know, and that's probably the best thing for him. But I mean, if he's not fighting, he can't make money. You know what I'm saying? Unless he turns to coaching full time, that'll be it. And he would only get coaching because of his namesake.
Yes,
That's the
yes, yeah.
only thing. People just listen to him because it's John Jones. He's deemed the greatest, you know, MMA fighter of all time. It's just like, well, but he's a woman beater and he does this. And if people with a moral compass would be like, I don't know if I should learn from him, even though he is really good. You're going to pick up bad habits from people like that. It's going to happen.
But the most annoying thing is, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record or sound petty or anything like that, but it's just annoying and painful that they seem to get away with it every single time.
Mhm.
Every single time. Um, there's one topic that I try to talk about, but the situation with Mr. Jake Paul. Um, what's your take? What's your take? I mean, I'm trying to steer it back to your fight, but I also going to try and get your take on certain affairs that's happening in the MMA community.
I mean, my problem, man, I don't even know. Like, I don't really care for him as a person, like, and all the antics that he's doing. But the dude's getting his money first and foremost. He's getting his money, and also at the same time, he's using the platform for a good cause. Is getting people to notice that UFC is not paying money. They're not taking care of the people like they should. And that is something that's admirable. I'm like, I can't believe I'm really rooting for this dude because
But
while
Dre,
he's like a, he comes off as a jerk. He goes off as, and you're like, I really hope this guy loses. But like, if you listen to him talk about the fighter pay and stuff like that, you're like, this dude's actually making sense. Like, and
Dre,
then you have to think about yourself for a second, like, dang, why am I agreeing with him? Like, why am I mad at him? It's one of those things. Like, I don't really care too much for him. Not a fan. I don't hate him, but I support what he's saying about the fighter stuff. Now, do I wish he'd fight somebody that's actually legit? Oh, 100%.
okay, they make a point. But when you say he's making a legitimate point about the fighter's salary, knowing someone like him really just tries to capitalize wherever he can and take advantage of the situation based on how much attention he's getting. Does he really care about that when he says that? When he says the UFC should pay the fighters more, does he really genuinely care?
I mean, I'd hope so. Otherwise, he's just, or it could be one of those things where like he's saying it so people could just jump ship off UFC and be like, I don't like it. Because there was a time where he was talking about trying to come up with a promotion. He was trying to come up with an MMA promotion. And I think that's what it was. He was like, I could start a promotion anytime. And it's like, well, he has the money for it, obviously. And he's been training MMA, for a while. They wrestled. So I'm like, that is also another avenue that he could exploit. Like I could come up with something because everybody's popping up with, these MMA promotions. Like Habib just popped up with one. Jorge Masvidal just popped up with one. Ex MMA's doing more, and they're grabbing ex UFC guys that were like not paid well. I mean, it's and Bellator's doing the exact same thing. It's only a matter of time for somebody overtakes UFC, and UFC has to change.
Yeah, no, I hear everything you said. Absolutely agree. You can't be you can't be how can I say? You can't have the number one spot the whole time. At some point, somebody else to take over, or someone or something has to take your place. Um, do you agree? Would you agree that, and it's something I was arguing with my co-host the other day, that a sport such as boxing will eventually be overtaken by mixed martial arts, say in the next 10 or 15 years?
I think so. I mean, boxing will still exist, but it's becoming so WWE-ish right now that it's really not grabbing people, and it's only 10% of fighting. So I don't, I don't think so. I don't see it happening. I don't see boxing staying around for a long time. I do believe people will start transferring over.
Mm, okay. I yeah, you're now the upteenth person that's kind of agreed with my co-host point that it will definitely it's like a diminishing sport because the sort of fans who are the lower fans of boxing they're getting old and they're dying off. The newer younger generation that's coming up, they're actually more interested in mixed martial arts or any similar combat sport.
Hmm. Because it's cooler and it's the newer thing, and it's a lot out of the two. It's a lot more healthy-ish choice. I mean, for your brain. Now you might leave it mangled arms and twisted knees and stuff like that. But as far as like being able to talk and write a sentence and be able to spell your name at the end of your lifetime, you can do it. You see all the time boxers, they have a lot of brain damage and the CTE and stuff like that from getting dropped and having to get right back up. MMA, you see it, but it's usually over by the time someone gets dropped. Someone's dropped, they drop down, and person starts grappling, so you have a chance to get your bearings back. And there you go.
And that brings me to your fight this coming weekend against Amit. Um, how do you see that fight going? As in, when you're in there in the cage with him, how do you see him? How do you see yourself as in starting and finishing?
I see myself coming out as how I've been coming out. Not my last fight, but the other fights coming out first, doing my thing first. I'm going to get hit. And I'm already made peace with that. I'm going to get hit. He's going to kick me. He's going to do crazy stuff. I know what my game plan is, and I got to follow my game plan to a T and trust in it and trust in the game plan that my coaches, put me through and drilled with me 1,001 times. It's the repetitions drill. A lot of things I'm doing now for this fight just seems second nature. It just seems as easy as breathing. I don't see it finishing. I don't want to go for the finish early. I don't.
You really
I
want to stay in.
don't.
You really want to stay in there
Well,
and put on a good show for the fans.
well, that, and I want to get all of this fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to leave anything up to chance. I'm like, well, what would happen if I did? Like, no. So pretty much to the point is, I want him to tell me to get him out. That's what I want. I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, I'm gonna try to finish you. Like, no, I want you to get tired of fighting me to where you give me something and I finish you with it. And then we can go home. Then we go home, we drink a beer, hug it out, and then I'll leave with your belt. And then there you go.
And look, after this upcoming fight, do you have any other fights booked?
To the best of my knowledge, I don't. I whatever my coach says, I'm gonna do it. If I get called up, cool. If I have to keep fighting regional, cool. I just at this point, just gotta keep plugging away. That's the most important thing is just keep plugging away. I can't get wrapped up in what's the next thing. I have to be present now. What's right now? I'm fighting. What's the next thing? Well, I don't know until I get there.
Good. Okay. That's good. Um, please, thank you so much for coming on the show. I was thinking today maybe I should do this after the fight because right now your main concern and your main priority is preparation, training, sleep, just making sure you're as prepared as you best can be for the upcoming fight, so you can come out with a win and stay in the cage and put on a good show for us all to watch. So I was thinking maybe we should do this next week after the fight when you've calmed down and you're not there's not so much of a fuss to prepare for the fight. But no, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And just I tried to ask this, but did you have a good time?
I did. I had a blast, man. Love talking shop with everybody.
Thanks. It's just that for me, it's a bit awkward. The first time I interviewed you, I was with my co-host, David. So when it comes to going what solo one-on-one with athletes, I do get quite awkward because it's not something I've been doing so often for in the past. I've always had a co-host with me to to help the conversation flow. But I'm glad you
Uh,
have a good time and thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you again.
all right. Thank you, man.
Take care.